concerning the sewer system. The first meeting that we had talked about why we need to build a new police and fire station, especially police station. The second meeting that we had was, town hall meeting, was to come up with 3 different ways to, and it was approved by the IU. The vast majority are residential homeowners. 4,306 of those customers live in single or double family dwellings. And this is all open. You could come up whenever you want to and take a look at it. This is the new agreement between the City of Beech Grove and the Citizens Energy, effective the first day of 2019. So here are the rates for the next, well, through 2025, phase 1. Citizens Energy is going to charge us 97 cents, in 2019, 97 cents per every 1,000 gallons of wastewater treated. In 2020, it goes up to $1.17. In 2021, it goes up to $1.41. 2022, it goes up to $1.70. 2023, it goes up to $2.02. 2024, it goes up to $2.25. 2025, at the end of phase 1, it goes up to $2.48. Look at the cost to treat wastewater. Look how it's going up. And the higher it goes, it's not going down, it's going higher. These people have to absorb it. And this is just to treat wastewater. It's not to do anything else. It's not to do maintenance. It's not to do new improvements, nothing. Just to treat wastewater. And that's etched in stone. The agreement's here, and it was approved by the IURC in 2018. This is an appropriation sheet from Sewage Works. Anybody's welcome to copy this. You can do a records request and get this. This is an updated report on the balances of Sewage Works. Can you read that appropriation right there? What does it say?
Sewage, IDPW, wastewater.
And what's the starting amount? In 2018, the appropriation for treatment of wastewater was $580,000. In 2019, the appropriation for the treatment of wastewater is $580,000. Any issue with that? In 2019, Citizens projects that it's going to cost us $687,000 to treat wastewater. This is the first 7 months of 2019. You can come up and look at it. See the balance at the end? We have a balance of $76,673. We've got 5 months to go. Are we going to make it? Not even close. Not even close. What's it going to do next year? You have a system that 2.5 years ago was worth almost $15 million. Right now, it's worth $11.5 million. It's depreciated over $3 million in 2 years. What's it going to be 2 years from now? Probably going to be lower, but your cost, your payment for fees is going to go up. It's going to go up drastically. Now, back when the city of Beech Grove entered into an agreement with Indianapolis to treat wastewater, can you hold this up, Tom? That's all fine and dandy, but the city of Indianapolis had 2 big interceptor lines coming through Beech Grove, coming from Warren Township and Lawrence. So all of this wastewater is coming down to Beech Grove. And also from Franklin Township, it's coming east, heading to the Southport treatment plant. By the time it gets to Beech Grove, is it already full capacity? Yes. So where's it going? Where's it going to go? It's going to go up in your basement. It's going to back up. This has been going on, and some people say, well, why don't you charge Citizens Energy for this? Why don't you charge, for that backup, because they're flooding the system? I can't go back after Citizens Energy when we agreed to do it in the first place. Think about it. We have 9 areas in Beech Grove where we monitor and where we take readings for wastewater, and they all end up right here. It's no wonder Citizens Energy wants to buy this utility. Control these major interceptor lines coming through Beech Grove. But we agreed with the city of Indianapolis to hook up to this. So, and it's not the fact that we didn't maintain the system. Over 60% of the main lines, not the interceptor lines and the deep lines, but the main lines have been relined either by Mayor Wright or by this administration. And you can look at this map, you can see where all of the lining has taken place. And that hasn't done any good. It backs up just as much now as it did 15 years ago. 60s. And we're going to raise rates, and it's going to continue to do that. There's nothing we can do about it, unless they take all of these lines out and put in bigger lines. One thing that's going to help is the Big Dig Tunnel. That's it's 200 feet deep. And everybody in this room is going to pay for it, because it's a federal mandate, EPA mandate. You have to keep the sewage water out of the rivers and streams. So that's what we're faced with. Now, Remember on the appropriation report I showed you? In 2018, we budgeted $580,000 for the treatment of wastewater. In 2019, we budgeted the same amount. Now, I want you to pay close attention to this. This is very important, and this is why we're not going to be able to sustain this. Under the category, under major projects, on page 2, if you could turn it to page 2, if you could read that category, tell me what the balance is, or what the current, or what the budgeted amount is for 2019. In 2018, major improvements to the system, we budgeted $175,000. What is it this year? Zero. Not one penny for improvements. We can't. How come? How come we can't budget for improvements? We can't make the payments for the treatment of wastewater. And what's going to happen if we can't make improvements to the system? It's going to fail. That's one of the reasons why I don't think we should do this anymore. But that's not the main reason. It's no secret that we need a new police station. No secret at all. In 2004, this city borrowed, took out a state revolving fund loan for repairs to the sewer and a bond. In 2004, they won't be paid off until the end of 2025. We're paying on these for 21 years. These are our balances now. You can't pay them off. They're series bonds, and a revolving fund loan, you have to pay them off annually. They will not let you pay them right off. So if a sale of the utility occurs, part of the sale includes money to pay these off, but it has to be over time. In 2012, the RDC was in debt by over $5 million. And the city took out a $2 million bond. That was us. We did that. We took a $2 million bond out. Look at all of this debt that we have. And we did $2 million of it, so we're part of it too. 10 years, we're in 2019, 7 years later, all of this debt, including this bond, has been refinanced. And by the end of 2022, this city will have no more debt, long-term debt, from the RDC or from the civil city. The sewage works will have $515,000 in debt, and it will be paid off three years later. And as I said a minute ago, we need a new police station desperately. But why should we borrow $9 million and go into debt and ask younger people to pay that debt that we caused after we've spent all this time getting out of debt? I don't want to do it. But, and I'll show you in a minute, our assessed valuation as a city right in 2020 is going to be $457 million. It's going up, and that's a good thing. But you can only borrow 2% of your assessed valuation. That's it. You can't borrow any more. So we can only borrow $9,156,000 if we didn't have any debt. Can't do it. There's no way I would do that for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's not fair. And number two, to saddle the city, max the city out once again after it's been through all of this. And number two, we just can't do it. We're prohibited from doing it, but we need a police station. That is the second reason why I think we should sell the utility. Because, as far as I'm concerned, personal safety is the number one priority. And I would rather build a new police station and sustain our police department for the next 25 years than try to invest in old pipe that is going to continue to devalue. So that's why I brought that forward. We can take part of the payment for the utility and build the police station. Fire department is not part of this. Fire department is something else. But this is for the construction of a police department. We can sustain our services for the next 25 years, build it, pay for it, and not incur any debt. That's one of the reasons why I think we should sell the utility. The third reason that I think we should sell the utility is for the majority of homeowners, the majority of the 4,306 ratepayers, and especially those on fixed income, those who one or two people live in the home, or maybe three, I think you can get a better rate than if you continue to be a Beech Grove Sewage Works customer. That's what I think. Will you get a better rate if you're one of 4,759 customers or one of 350,000 customers? That's why I recommend we sell it. I made a statement last fall, that I would rather be a Citizens Energy customer than a Beech Grove Sewage Works as a private citizen. And the reason I said that is because my monthly bill will be at least $5 less than what we're going to have to charge next year if we want to stay in the business. And that's what this is all about. People on fixed income. And there's a lot of them out there. Once you get to phase two, they're going to at least charge you $2.3 million for the treatment of wastewater. Citizens Energy. Then it goes, it's not going down. 2.5 million, 2.7 million. In 29, it reaches $3 million. And you still have the fundamental problems you have with the system that you have today. It's going to back up. We average $680 million a year. Every month, we read the meters and give the report to Citizens. And Citizens turns around and tells our sewage works people what to bill the commercial and industrial user. Think about that. They're doing our billing for us, except for residential users, which is on a fixed rate. So it's already there. We average 2.5 million gallons per day. If we go over 6 million gallons a day, we pay a penalty. $5,000 per day. That's on top of everything. Not only do we have flooded basements, we have to pay more. And you really want to know what the real kicker is in all of this? Over 40% of the wastewater that is treated by Citizens Energy that comes from Beech Grove is not even wastewater. It's groundwater. We are paying, all of us, including me, we're paying to treat groundwater. Part of that comes from an antiquated system, old clay pipe. Some of it comes from downspouts being funneled into the sewer. Some of it comes from sump pumps in basements that pump into they're discharged into the sewer. 3 homes on a city block, if all 3 of them have a sump pump going at the same time, it'll back the system up. Today, my rain gauge had a 1/2 inch in it. Think about this, we meet this threshold if we have 1 inch of rain. Can you imagine the cost we had the other day when we had 4 inches of rain? Devastating. Devastating. So for senior citizens and people who live in their home, 1 or 2 or 3 people, I think you will get a better rate if someone else treats your wastewater. I believe that. That's why I came forward. That's the big reason why I did it. People on fixed income. If you look at the rate structure, and you guys are welcome to look at all of these. In 2020, the $26.60 sewer bill goes to $40. And folks, this is just to treat wastewater. This isn't anything else. In 21, it goes to 41. 22, it goes to 43. 23, it goes to 46. 24, it goes to 48. And in 2025, your sewer bill is $50 a month just to treat wastewater. Citizens Energy. None of these figures I've made up. That's if we retain ownership. No, a great question.
What is our estimate? It sounds like we're going to pay more either way, which it goes up, I understand that. But I'd like to know what they're agreeing to as far as increasing pipe structure and size.
Great question. There is no way that anybody in this room is going to get out of this with no rate increase. It's not going to happen. Forget it. You know, they said, well, Mayor, you don't have to raise the rates. You know, if we go to citizens, they're going to raise the rates. They sure are. But I'll tell you what, we are too.
The flooded basement. My question revolves around my flooded basement, and I'm sure everybody in here has a similar. What in the RFP guarantees us increase in the size and structure of the current system?
Well, what they explain in the and I have not seen their bids. There's 3 bids, and one of the criteria of the RFP is to explain your maintenance and how are you going to maintain this system, how are you going to test it, and how are you going to make improvements. and your availability. That's one of the criteria. To me, it's not so much how much are you willing to pay us. It's tell us how you're going to maintain the system, the upgrades that you're going to make, and how timely are you going to be. Right now, we can't make upgrades. Well, we can. So that's to me is as important and probably more important than the dollar figure. Sure.
Do for us to improve things.
I don't know what they're going to do.
Then why don't
I have to look at the RFPs.
Then how is this the last meeting?
Well, I mean, I've had 3. You know, it goes to the council now. Now, Julie had a question. Now, who sets the rates?
Yeah, I mean, all I'm saying is, you've told us what our rates are gonna be if we keep it, and then you also gave us that information over there. I mean, we're gonna have those rate increases if citizens approve them anyway. So what's the difference between continuing on with our own rates versus they're gonna raise the rates as we go to them anyway?
Well,
They're not gonna stay the same, you just said that, no matter what. And my second question, I mean,
go ahead.
you talk about all this money that has been taken in, and through all the years, how much it's cost. I wanna see where that money's gone. I wanna see, was it applied to our sewers? Was it paid to fix our sewers? Or was it put elsewhere?
Some of it wasn't.
I wanna see where. I wanna see how much.
Some of it went into the general fund.
A lot of it went into,
Yeah,
and that needs to be addressed.
sure it does.
But I wanna see how much of that has been spent on the sewers.
Well,
I know you have to have it.
what have you heard that, well, let me phrase this.
I've heard, I'm asking.
Yeah,
I want to see
Well,
how much what we have paid when our bills have been, increased to make these payments. I want to see where that went to improve those sewers.
back,
50% of it went to improve?
no,
Was it 90?
here's,
We deserve that.
Sure.
because We paid it in. And now it's gonna, if we sell it, the city's gonna get that money, not us. And we're the one who put it in there.
back, I'm not sure when it happened, but back in 2003, 2004, I'm not sure. The sewer utility started charging a pilot payment and a return of investment. Our budget for sewage works this year is $3.1 million. 849,000 of that doesn't even see the sewer system. So Julie, your answer would be whatever the difference is, that's what's put into the sewer system.
I spoke with an employee that's been at Citizens Energy for almost 30 years, and he advised me that anytime a city sold their sewer to citizens, it takes multiple major problems before they ever even do repair. So I think it's a bad idea.
Well, that's your opinion. All right, but I want to point this out. We've heard all kinds of statements about, well, the city spends $1 million over to the budget from the utility. The city spends, how are we going to make up 1.1 million? How are we going to make up 1.2 million? How are we going to make up 1.5 million? Now it's already up to 1.8 million. How are we going to make all that up? If you go back to page 2, if you go back to page 2 and and see these two here? Tell me the amounts budgeted.
For the pilot payment, $142,196, and for return of investment, $706,892.
Those are the two figures that's budgeted in the appropriation report that transfers from the sewer utility over to the general fund. And it was the same amount last year. $142,196, $706,892. If the city sells the utility, this goes away. You won't pay that. You may pay that as a negotiation tool. One of the questions that come up is, how are we going to make this difference up? We've been collecting this for 15, 16 years. How are we going to change that? You know, how are we going to adjust that? This is the city's AV. In 2007, it was $521 million. Assessed valuation, total worth of the city. If you look at 08, 09, 11, 10, 11, 12, decreasing. That's not good for a number of reasons. Number one, your property was worth less. Okay, in 12, it went down some more in 12, went down in 13, started coming up in 14, 15 is coming up, 16 down a little bit, 17 up, 18 up, 19 up, and then 20 up again. Your property's worth more, therefore you're going to pay more taxes. That is how some of this gets made up. Not all of it, some of it. How many of you think this is a tax? This part here. I do. Because that's not going to the sewer utility. That's going to city government. So how else would we make that up? You enter into a pilot agreement with Citizens Energy or whoever buys the utility, and they pay you over 25 years. City of Indianapolis, Citizens Energy pays the City of Indianapolis millions of dollars a year in a pilot agreement through 2035. That's another way. New commercial and industrial business. More reason, or more business, more tax dollars. Which is even better because you, as a residential homeowner, shouldn't foot the bill for city government. It should be commercial and industrial. Elimination of TIF districts. Anybody know how much Walmart pays in taxes each year? Take a guess. Take a guess. Just take a wild guess. $403,000. All but $3,600 goes to the RDC. And why do we scream? Because of all the police runs down there? Making all the police runs for $3,600 a year. Huh? CSX property, Alro, ADM, Amazon, all of those businesses are going to contribute to the tax base. Ambulance billing, we need to update our ambulance billing. That contributes to the general fund as well. Public safety tax. How many of you realize we have a public safety tax? And it's for police and fire. How much do we contribute? How much do the taxpayers pay in that to the city of Beech Grove? $1.8 million a year. Now, a lot of that is already incorporated into the city budget. But it's there. It's not going to increase. They started this public safety tax in 2007. This started either in 3 or 4. The public safety tax started in 2007, so it wasn't around. If the public safety tax was around, I don't think this would have ever occurred. But it wasn't. Those are some of the ways to make up revenue. So, if you look at this column here, it's going to be around these figures for the next 5 years, what we're going to have to charge if we decide to raise rates. That's just for the treatment of wastewater. That doesn't include treatment, maintenance, repairs, new construction, equipment, salaries, benefits, and debt. All of those things have to be factored on top of this rate right here. We attempted to do it last year. The council wouldn't move it forward. Okay. I can't raise rates. Only the council can raise rates. The IURC does not approve local rates. If Citizens Energy takes control of the system, then they cannot initiate a rate increase unless it's approved by the IURC. It's different. But we can raise rates whenever we want. We don't have to go to the IURC. All of these are available for, you can take a picture of them, look at them. Here's copies. Oh, there's no copies. We'll have to make copies. You're all welcome to get that. But I just want to say to you, the 3 reasons that I want to do this is we are no longer, as a city, I don't think, going to be able to sustain this system. I think the majority of our ratepayers, especially senior citizens, can get a better deal. And number 3 is we need to make a substantial investment in our police department and sustain our police department for the next 25 years. Everybody's personal safety is far more relevant than all of this. So, any questions? Yes, sir.
As far as who's bidding on what and what the rates may be, and have a meeting with everybody instead of just with the council. And secondly, has anybody considered looking at the old Marsh store, which is now Safeway, and remodeling it into a police station? The big parking lot there, it's a big facility. Would it cost $9 million to remodel that store and turn it into a police station? Anybody thought of that?
No, I have not. Let me go back to the first one. There's 3 companies that have placed a bid on the utility. Aqua, Indiana American, and Citizens. Next Monday, the council will hear the 3 bids, and then they will be released after that for public viewing.
So why can't you have another meeting then, once you have all that information?
I could.
I think it'd be a good idea.
I could, but we won't take, the council meets next Monday, and then we won't take any action for, I'm going to say at least a month, because September is budget month. So we'll be looking through budgets and stuff like that. Then we'll pick it back up again. So,
The
but
possibility of having a
we can
meeting?
have another meeting. I mean,
I think that'd be a good idea.
so.
We'll have all the information then.
That, and the second question, there's been very little interest in that property, the old Subway, or not Subway, but Safeway. So I don't really know what to say. There is one grocery chain that had a little bit of interest in it, but I haven't heard anything lately.
But can you at least look and see what it would cost to remodel that into the police station? Instead of
I
it
could find
sitting there
out.
vacant?
I could find out what they would want to purchase it. Sure.
Okay, appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I can't hear you. Well, keep in mind, the city agreed to do that. No, nobody in this room made the decision.
Okay, then we
But-
have attorneys for this city, and we ought to go after Lawrence and them and why should I pay for their water? That's double dipping. Lawrence is paying and now we're paying.
Well, also,
Yeah,
whoever lives out east is paying too.
Exactly. That's
well,
what
you
he's
ought to
saying.
stop the buck. You ought to get our attorneys and go after them. That's why we pay them.
It's almost like if you agreed to rent a house and it was a piece of crap, you know, you should be able to go after them. I mean, yeah, we went into that agreement, but we would expect a certain level of service for that. I happen to be one of the people that's not affected by any backups, but if I was, man, it would be really bad.
I agree.
And just to say that because we went into that agreement, we can't go back and try to get something from them because they're not providing the service that any reasonable person would expect. It's kind of insane, I think. Have we tried that?
To go back after them? No,
So we haven't even tried.
No.
We haven't even looked at that.
no.
I think the sale of the sewer and stuff should come to a halt to protect that.
Yeah, Gary.
Just follow up on what you just stated. I don't need that. The flow meters, how do we accurately know the amount of waste that we're processing, paying for? The flow meters? Is
We
that-
don't.
Well,
We don't.
okay, so the capacity, how do they gauge that? Is there a set, because it fluctuates obviously based on your models.
We just take the readings. That's on the meter itself, Gary. That's it. That's all we can base it on.
Where's this meter at?
There's 9 of them. I can't tell you off.
That's not true. That's not true. That's for businesses. Residents, we pay a flat fee. It's different.
Right.
So,
No. Not for residential.
okay.
But No, but that's a good point, Gary, and I want to,
Fluctuates. That's what I want to know.
yeah.
There's a series of questions based on that. So there's got to be a way for citizens down in Southport to say, Beech Grove, you have this mass of waste process versus Lawrence versus the map.
I don't know how they do that. They can,
That's what we need, that's number one, that's what we need to find out. That's
we
our
can
first
only,
conversation.
we can only base it on our readings. And let me explain something on our readings.
Okay,
When you get a rainfall like today,
right,
you can go to the majority of these sites, and you'll see the manhole lids popped off.
okay.
And you'll see creek water running over the top of those manholes. So you folks, this is another reason why, what are we doing? You know, not only are we having this here, and we're over capacity, there's also creek water that gets in there as well. And we're paying to treat that. That's no good. Stop.
That's true, you brought that point up. So when it's over capacity, before it even, our wastewater to that line, to that trunk, therefore, with it already being maxed out, and it gets pushed back like a well when it blows its tops in people's bathrooms and basements. With that though, Lawrence again, wherever that flow is coming in, there should be a usage fee just like we provide for Southport. Because they're using our pipes because there's wear and tear per se on our pipes, the main trunks. So again, I know we didn't make that drug deal, but we should negotiate.
They may very well know what Lawrence distributes, Warren, Franklin Town, I don't know.
Well, they do.
Yeah, but I don't know, you know, they know what we report to them. And, yeah, could be, yeah. Yeah.
So from the 45 residents, I think you showed us the other graph, it's 2666 a month. Of that 45 goes into sewer, 15 for trash, 375 for stormwater. Of that 2666, you're right now you're at 3.182. So $3.2 million. Subtract return on investment, subtract 1.5 for treasure that goes back to the general fund. Where's that 1.1 million? That's what I would.
Are you talking about the difference between these two figures? That goes through in the budget for the sewage works. Well,
Because again, so simple. Any fireman in here, you guys know this, you can only push so much water through a line. So the sewer line's what, 18 inches?
let me, you have salaries, benefits, you have perf, you have health insurance, you have uniforms, you have fuel, supplies, protective clothing, building materials, professional services, engineering, telephone, postage. That's all taken out of there. Sewage works. 3.182. Oh, I don't know what, this is page 1. Right there. What's that say? 1.6. 1.62. Well, that's the balance left for this year.
So, okay, so that balance left for this year, going back and, let's go back to your times 80, how much of that, our sewer system is fixed?
Oh, I don't know about it. I don't know.
That's millions of dollars.
You're not going to have, you're going to have very limited balance left over at the end of the year. Is that what you're talking about? No.
Is that year to date on that report?
Yeah.
Okay, so you spent 1.6, you're looking for another 1.5, 1.6, to balance that.
as a community, as an administration, whatever you want to say, if we were responsible and kept that where it was for, because again, the sewer also is the sewer utility, which includes garbage and all the other guys and gals too, right? So the trucks and all that too. So that 1.5 would have been used for sewer, not the general fund, as you put it.
It's not used for, it's used for sewer and trash. It's not used for stormwater. Stormwater is not included. Stormwater is separate.
And that-
Stormwater is its own thing.
And that trash will still be in our bills as well too, right? And it wasn't
Yes.
just too. So that's another $15 per month
Yes.
per consumer. Okay.
Yes. The stormwater, if you look at your sewer bill, you have a stormwater fee of $375. That's separate from this. And when the council approved the stormwater fees, they only did it on two conditions. Number one is the money collected used to repair drainage problems. And number two, no debt is issued against the stormwater. So those were the two criteria. Any other questions on the sewer? What's going to happen is next Monday, the council's going to meet, and they're going to hear from all three bidders, and then nothing's going to happen. They're going to take it under advisement. Then they'll work through it through the month of September, and then there'll be a committee put together of 3 citizens and 3 council people, and then they will look at the RFPs and make a recommendation to the council. If, if we'll talk to them about having another town hall conversation. So.
These will be public, so once they get those next week, whatever the next meeting is, we can come by and pick up a copy of all 3 of them.
When the council's ready to release it, not me, when the council's ready to release it, then they'll be made available to the public.
Right, but are they going to take those 3 and sit on them, or are they going to release them so that we could put something out to the people in Beech Grove, let them come over and get a copy, okay, and look at it, and so that they might have a word on who is gonna run our water. Because I want somebody that I can trust. I don't want somebody that, we go into this and then all of a sudden the rates change in 2024, which is, 26 years down the road. 5 really now.
Those rates, Jess, are locked in to the end of 25, and then phase 2 comes in. Phase 2 is locked in until 2030.
Okay, so how long's the council gonna sit on the bids?
I don't know.
And look at them. That's all I
The
was
council may tell me, if you go back to the very beginning,
Yeah.
the council wanted to do 2 things. And for those of you who attended the meetings, 1, they wanted an RFP developed. And second, they wanted to see who was interested in buying the utility and how much they're willing to pay. That was the criteria. They made no commitment to sell it. The council, Liz is here, Dave's here, isn't that correct? They could come and tell me, middle of September, we pass.
Yeah, don't like any of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
then it's over.
All right.
So that's where that's at, We just continue on, and then the council is going to have to address rate increases. So that's where we're at.
Mayor, I had just one question. I guess has Wessler or anybody looked into what it would cost at this point, as far as rates going up, if we kept it? Like, what would our rates look like? I know you've listed what they are and what they could be projected in the next few years, but all history aside, what would it cost at this point for rates to go up if we maintained it going forward and to make the improvements to protect the basements over the next 5 or 10 years?
The last rate study was done, it was done in 17 and was revised, I think this spring. But it didn't go into how much it would cost to rehab the system. It didn't go into, and that's a major criteria because 10%, the 10% of our system is over 75 years old. Still functions, but it's aged. And who knows? That's a good question.
I guess that, whether it's Beech Grove, the bill comes from Beech Grove or Citizens, I mean, I don't want to say I really care, but, you know, if my basement was backing up, and I hear people are interested in getting that resolved, there's no guarantee that we can do it, City of Beech Grove, there's no guarantee that Citizens will do it in the next 5 or 10 years potentially. I guess I'm just curious as to what, if we kept it and we paid for it, what would my rate have to be for us to do that and not rely on Citizens to do that?
I don't know. I have a pretty good idea except for the cost of improvements. I don't know. No. I've checked into our financial advisor has checked into some things. If you see this column here, that's just to treat wastewater. This has to be tacked on for the majority of this. So this is the thing, this is for treatment only. This is for everything else, but I don't know new construction. I don't know. Now, one thing the legislature did help us with, and I don't know who follows the legislature in here, but they're changing rules, and what they're doing is they're encouraging municipalities to get out of the sewer business. And let me give you an example. Up until this is the first year, or last year was the first year, if you take a subdivision, let's say like Beech Grove Station, Woods of Beech Grove, Carrington Condos, Timber Grove, Park Meadow, those subdivisions that were built and then the property or the utilities were given to the city. The city took over the maintenance of the utilities. Up until last year, if you sold the utility, your utility, you could not include those in the sale of the utility. You had to go back to the original tracts. None of those subdivisions would apply because the city didn't do it, the work. The city didn't pay for that, so it was donated to the city. The legislature last year changed the rules, and now they allow all of those to be incorporated in the sale of the utility. If they wouldn't have done that, that opened the door for municipalities. If they wouldn't have done that, we would have never, ever took this course. No way. No way.
I was just curious, if the council does not accept any of the bids, what is plan B for the police officers getting a station?
Nothing. Great question.
Okay.
This.
So we haven't.
Anybody visited the police station?
No, I'm not, may I?
Sure.
I am absolutely not arguing that they shouldn't have one, but I'm an Indy girl, okay? I'm born and raised in Indianapolis. I think it's an amazing city. I've been in Beech Grove. We've just marked 6 years in Beech Grove last month. And the thing that sets Beech Grove apart from Indianapolis for me, the major difference that I notice is these guys. They're head and shoulders, you know, what I experienced my entire
We've looked into leasing options, lease purchase, borrowing the money, which we can't do, and the sale of the utility.
Have we looked into for getting volunteers? I'm fairly certain that this being a working class city, that we have a lot of people that know how to hang drywall and some hammers and donate time and resources, and I'm pretty sure that this community loves their police department, and that we would all come together and we would build them a doggone station. Just tell us when and where. What about the money for, what happens to the money that the officers write tickets and the people pay for the tickets, or they arrest and they have to pay court costs and all that? Where does all that money go?
It goes into the general fund.
So can that money be put towards a police station?
Public safety fund and your guys' tax money.
Property tax, I mean specifically, like, what am I paying that's contributing to you, my property tax?
And your income tax off your paycheck.
Okay.
All right, any other questions?
I don't have a question, I just gotta say, I think we should at least look into trying to take action against either other cities or someone who's throwing all that water through this causing the problem. And I also think that if we do decide to go with one of these three proposals, the only way I could see accepting any of them wouldn't be based on how much we can get. It would be the conditions of people that are having backups, when that's gonna be resolved permanently. That would be like the top of the list, not how much we can get for it.
Anything else?
I will add in, I complain about that at every meeting, only because I live at the bottom of the hill. So anybody that lives at the bottom of 4th Street knows the water comes down 2 ways. And so I only say that because of location. And anybody that lives by the creek, many creeks,
I live on 23rd, my basement floods every time.
Yeah.
For $14,000 to have the basement sealed.
so I don't mean to hijack the meeting exactly, but my biggest concern is asking how anyone that might purchase our system, because I get the cost is gonna go up either way, and I want our police department to have nice facilities. Anybody that knows me knows that. But the maintenance and the rehab has just, I agree, has to be, please, number one.
And I think it's gotta be a pretty short time.
All the other places come through Beech Grove pipes. Where does Beech Grove leave? Once it goes from Beech Grove, it goes other places as well, and they don't charge us, correct?
No. These go to Southport Treatment Plant and Belmont Police Treatment Plant. What we generate.
So if we start asking other places to start charging them for coming through our pipes, we're gonna get charged to go through other people's pipes then, probably, right? If you think of that concept, is that how it would go?
Mayor, I venture to bet those gauges, they have upstream and downstream, and it's the difference of the two. They can read what's coming in versus what's going out, and the difference is going to be what we're charged versus what Lawrence or, whomever.
Right, but then it's all not go out.
And Alvaro isn't expanding, but.
So they're not? Okay, I thought they were. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.